You ever watch someone get arrested on your own front lawn while yelling about your breakfast? Because let me tell you, there's nothing in the world quite like the HOA president of Cedar Hollow Reserve face down in my grass, shrieking that she's defending the community from my greasy hate food, all while an officer is calmly cuffing her and his partner is replaying my doorbell cam for the fifth time just to make sure the whole circus is preserved for the ages. Yeah, that happened. And somehow, out of all the ways I pictured my 30s going, I never thought eating bacon would turn into a political statement. But here we are. I'm Evan Mercer, I'm 36, and I moved to Cedar Hollow Reserve thinking all I wanted was a little peace and quiet, a decent porch, and some fresh coffee, before logging into 12 hours of soul-sucking Zoom meetings. I'm just a systems analyst who actually likes to cook real food, not whatever comes out of a packet with just add water on the front. The thing that sold me on this neighborhood was the porch, honestly big shaded a little swing maple trees framing the sunrise. I put a table out there, a chair, sometimes my portable stove on the weekends. For me, a wild Saturday means thick-cut bacon, a book, and enough silence to remember that owning a house means caring about things like gutters and squirrels instead of rent increases and broken elevators. 4 days in, I learned what passes for welcome around here is a knock that sounds like the police but is actually way worse. Patricia Larkin, HOA President Blazer in 90-degree weather clipboard, basically fused to her hand like some sort of government-issued growth. She smiled at me like I'd parked a monster truck on her cat. "Welcome to Cedar Hollow Reserve," she said, her teeth doing most of the talking. "We pride ourselves on being a scent-neutral, wellness-forward community." Didn't even register until later what that meant. I told her how much I loved the porch, loved to cook out there sometimes. She went all glassy-eyed. Cook what exactly, she asked, like the fate of the free world depended on my answer. Breakfast eggs bacon sometimes," I said. She blinked at me twice slowly. "Well," she said, voice getting tight, "we'll talk about food odors at the next community meeting. Enjoy your stay, Mr. Mercer." Should have taken that as a warning. Week later, I get this heavy folded letter in my mailbox. Looks like a ransom note. Notice of old factory disruption. Several neighbors have reported strong cooking odors emanating from your porch, specifically meat-based products. Cedar Hollow Reserve is committed to a fresh, air-clean, mind environment. Please limit cooking activities that produce lingering smells. I honestly laughed out loud just standing in my kitchen, tossed it in a drawer, and went about my business. The next Sunday, bacon again. My little act of rebellion. And that's when the surveillance started. Patricia cruising by in her silver SUV, windows cracked. Nose wrinkled like I'd started a tire fire out front. Phone out filming my porch, pointing at my skillet, and whispering conspiratorially to the neighbors walking their dogs. 2 days later, second notice. Continuing to release animal grease-based odors into the shared air is inconsiderate and may attract pests, wildlife, and lower home values. I wish I was exaggerating. This one came with a community wellness addendum that basically read like a deranged cookbook. No curry, no fish, no incense, no meat cooked outdoors or in front-facing areas. You could practically smell the tofu through the paper. Pretty soon, neighbors are crossing the street when I come out with groceries. There's rumors. One woman says I'm deliberately cooking offensive foods to disrespect the community. Someone else says I told Patricia to choke on kale. Not true, but not a bad idea if I'm honest. So I go to the HOA meeting hoping to nip it in the bud. Patricia has a whole PowerPoint. Slide 1 stock photo of bacon with a red X. Slide 2 science from Google about airborne grease particles. Slide 3 psychological aggression via persistent sense. She doesn't say my name, but everyone knows who she means. When I ask, "So just to be clear, you're trying to regulate what food people cook inside their homes." If someone can smell it, she gives me that look. We're simply encouraging considerate choices. Some of us are more enlightened about what we put in and around our bodies. The board stares at their shoes. It's clear nobody wants to poke the bear. So I start saving everything. Emails, letters, even photos of Patricia filming my skillet like it's a biohazard. I had no idea how much I'd need that folder later. The real turning point comes at 8:13 a.m. on a Tuesday. I'm on my porch, breakfast in hand, ready for another day of work, when Patricia pounds on my door. Doesn't wait for an answer, just barges up. Hairspray armor, eyes blazing. You were given multiple notices. You are in violation of community standards, she snaps. I take a slow bite, not to provoke her. I just refuse to cold eat eggs for anybody, you know what I mean? She's fuming. You are releasing grease particulates into community air. You're creating a hostile, olfactory environment. I am documenting this for legal action. She whips out her phone and starts recording me chewing like it's a crime. I stand up. I'm going to ask you to step off my property now. She ignores me and turns the camera on herself. This is day 12 of my exposure to violent breakfast smells. My sinuses burn. My chakras are clogged. We will be seeking emergency relief. That's when I'd had enough. I head inside, grab my phone, and call the non-emergency police. Hi, my HOA president is on my porch refusing to leave, and she's harassing me about what I eat. Could someone swing by and help make it clear that breakfast is legal? 20 minutes later, patrol car rolls up. Officer Hernandez steps out, takes one look at Patricia narrating her bacon war on TikTok or wherever, and you can just see in his face he knows this is going to be the dumbest thing he'll hear all week. He introduces himself, asks what's going on. Patricia pounces. He is intentionally cooking meat on his porch. He's poisoning the air. This is harassment. Arrest him. Hernandez looks at me at my plate of eggs and bacon, back at her. Ma'am, eating bacon on your own porch isn't a crime, Patricia snaps. It is when it violates HOA standards. Cite him for public nuisance or public indecency of the nostrils, something. I already had my phone recording by then. Hernandez keeps his voice calm. Walks her through the basics. Private property, no noise, no public intoxication, no laws broken. The HOA doesn't override state law, he says. You can't call 911 because you don't like what your neighbor eats. And that's when she snaps. She gets right in his face, shouting, I am the elected president of this community. You will enforce our standards if you don't. He puts up his hand, tells her to step back. She slaps his hand away. Then with both palms shoves him backward. Not hard, but enough. Time just stops me, the officer. The birds, even my bacon sizzles in silence. Then Hernandez says it, ma'am, you just assaulted a police officer. Patricia's eyes go wide. I was defending myself from his refusal, she yells, but it's too late. He turns her around, cuffs her, starts reading her rights. My porch camera gets the whole thing, her screaming about bacon tyranny as they drive her away. After that, things move fast. Hernandez takes my statement, collects all the HOA letters, emails, my recordings, camera footage. Suddenly, he's not just annoyed, he's professionally interested. This isn't the first time she's harassed you. Nope, I say, sliding over my HOA nonsense folder. It's been an escalating festival of crazy. He nods. Well, not good, but this helps. Within a week, I get a call from Internal Affairs. Detective from the DA's office wants my whole harassment file. My lawyer, because I finally broke down and hired one, nearly chokes, laughing at the old factory disruption letter. But this isn't small potatoes battery on a peace officer filing a false police report because she called 911 claiming I was menacing her with hot grease, which, by the way, was not true. Hernandez's body cam and my porch cam line up perfectly. Meanwhile, the HOA acts like nothing's happening. No mention in the newsletter, no updates. Just a snarky email from the vice president. We remind all residents to avoid provocative behavior that could lead to conflict. My lawyer, Dana Chu, fires back. My client's provocative behavior consisted of consuming breakfast. If this HOA continues to target him for lawful activity, we will be pursuing civil remedies. Then she grins and says, by the way, the fact that Patricia was acting as president when she shoved a cop, that's going to be very relevant in court. What does that mean, I ask. It means she says her little HOA might be picking up the tab. The trial is local tiny but packed because word gets around when your HOA president gets arrested for attacking a cop over bacon. Patricia tries to roll in like a martyr beige suit giant neck brace that magically appeared since the incident. Her lawyer claims she was emotionally destabilized by aggressive meat consumption. The DA looks like he's trying not to laugh. They play the video, Hernandez explaining me looking bewildered, Patricia ranting about airborne grease toxins, her slapping his hand, shoving him no neck brace. Just pure entitlement. Verdict comes back fast. Battery on a peace officer. Guilty. Filing a false police report. Guilty. Sentencing day karma finally fries itself up. My lawyer had filed a civil suit too for harassment, defamation, HOA, overreach, abuse of authority. Turns out Patricia sent multiple defamatory emails from her official HOA address, bragged in texts about running the bacon boy out, and pushed through that scent neutrality rule without any proper vote. Judge isn't having it. Criminal sentence 60 days in county jail, suspended if she behaves. 2 years probation. Mandatory anger management. Court order, no leadership in any HOA during probation. Civil settlement, HOA's insurance pays me for harassment and emotional distress. Patricia personally owes me restitution for defamation. And that whole scent neutrality thing voided forever. Judge says an HOA is not a dietary dictatorship. Even the court reporter snickers. Patricia bursts into tears. HOA board members look like they want to dig a hole and crawl in. Me, I sit on my porch the next morning, bacon, sizzling coffee, steaming, a little smile on my face as the sun comes up between the maples. The neighborhood is quieter somehow, like everyone's holding their breath to see what happens next. So let me ask you, if your HOA tried to control what you could eat in your own house, how would you fight back? Would you play it safe? Go along with the crowd, or stand up for your right to live your life? Drop your wildest HOA story in the comments. Let's hear about the time wellness went way too far. And hey, if you think breakfast should always be legal, share your thoughts on what's fair, and let's talk about where we draw the line between community and crazy.